It had been 31 years since Notre Dame won a major bowl, 1993, and that streak is over. Notre Dame 23, Georgia 10, and the Fighting Irish are headed to the Final Four of the first ever 12-team college football playoff. I'm Tim Prister with Tim O'Malley, joined by John Brice of FootballScoop, and this is Irish Illustrated's Instant Analysis brought to you by RVMH Hall of Fame in Elkhart, Indiana. It was a slugfest. It was a tug of war there early on, teams exchanging field goals, but when Notre Dame took a 13-3 lead following a crucial turnover forced inside Georgia's own backyard, quickly Riley Leonard threw to Bo Collins to put Notre Dame up 13-3, and they led by double digits the rest of the way. 23-10, Notre Dame is headed to Miami to take on Penn State.
Notre Dame scored 17 points in less than a minute of game action, and that turned the tide. They scored it because of defense, they scored it on special teams, and they scored it on offense because of the defense. It was an incredible turn of events. And for those of you who don't like the transfer portal, the people that were involved in that were R.J. Oben, Riley Leonard, Bo Collins, and Jaden Harrison, who made fantastic plays for the Irish.
Oh, don't forget one Money Mitch Jeter.
Yes.
He's a transfer portal acquisition as well. And you bring up a great point. 17 points in a dizzying span. But guess what that span came within? The middle eight. What have we said all year? This team absolutely kicks ass in the middle eight, and they did that tonight. Outscored Georgia 17-0 during that middle eight, and it was much less than 8, as we've noted that it took the Irish to get it done. They were +2 in turnover margin. We harped on that repeatedly, and they were the more physical team. And I asked Mitch Evans about it today, and he goes, I guess in the post-game locker room, and he goes, hey, all there is to say is I guess we run the SEC.
Mitch Jeter full circle. Well, they did start to finish.
They might get one more.
And and speaking of full circle, Mitch Jeter, who had 3 field goals at Texas A&M tonight, he hit from 44, 47, and 48 yards. That was absolutely critical. Notre Dame stopped the running game. You know, Gunnar Stockton came out. He came out hot. He hit 7 of his first 8, and he was impressive. He hit that 66-yarder. But again, once Notre Dame took the lead on Mitch Jeter's 2 field goals, they were in control. They led by double digits for the last 30 minutes. They held Georgia to 2 of 12 on third down, 0 of 3 on fourth down. I had a chance to talk to Al Golden after the game. He was asking about those stats. I said a combined 2 of 15, and that was exactly what they were looking for. Held Georgia to 296 yards total offense. It was a struggle for Notre Dame offensively. Fortunately, Riley Leonard ran for 80 to go along with his 88 yards passing. Jeremiah Love banged up, couldn't get a whole lot going, but Riley Leonard led the way, and Jadarian Price had 10 carries for 37 yards and could have had more if not for a penalty.
Jadarian Price, at one point, was the most important player in this game because he bounced off tackles that were supposed to be tackles for loss. He turned one into an 8-yard gain, one into a 2-yard gain, and one to a 3-yard gain. Those used to always be tackles for losses for him. There's no more pitter-patter of little feet. He had a really nice run called back by a hold on Jaden Greathouse. I thought Price answered the bell. He looked angry on one of those runs with Jeremiah Love obviously out. Aeneas Williams fighting and scratching. Did not get the first down, but it allowed Notre Dame to once again make the play of the day on special teams. It didn't even end up being a special teams play technically. It ends up being a 4th down where they get Georgia to jump off sides because of all the movement they had and all the eye candy they had at their own 23-yard line, 24-yard line. That would have been nuts going for it there. And 17 points today from the special teams unit collectively, and the one offensive touchdown, Riley Leonard with the pass into the end zone for Bo Collins. So really Notre Dame, I thought, dominated in all 3 phases. They don't quite get to 250 yards offense, I don't believe. Georgia didn't get to 300 yards of offense, I know. 62 yards rushing. We got it right up there for us.
Yeah, there you go.
29
it's our
carries.
first ever prompt by just the Sugar Bowl brought it.
29 carries, 62 yards. Outstanding defense.
Another key moment in the game, and we're near the spot where it happened, was in the second half. Riley Leonard scrambles around left end, leaves his feet to ensure he gets the first down, somersaults over, gets up and gives the first down signal, and the Georgia player, and the scoreboard reflected it, was down, and yet the Georgia player had the audacity to chirp, and Riley Leonard chirped right back. I talked to some of his teammates, and they loved it. I even had one of the guys telling me, well, actually that play was designed to go inside, but Riley saw something, and to his credit, he just made it happen.
We told you that Marcus Freeman would stay aggressive, and he certainly stayed aggressive. And again, talking to Al Golden after the game, when the decision was made, Golden got on the headset with Marcus Freeman and said, "We have your back." And that's just the Notre Dame defense. That's what they're all about. 10 penalties by Notre Dame kind of clogged things up a little bit.
Some crucial penalties.
Some crucial penalties and maybe some questionable penalties.
Especially, a real questionable one on Jack Kaiser. Maybe two questionable ones on Jack Kaiser. In the first half, the penalties, I thought, denied Notre Dame almost any shred of an opportunity to get an offensive rhythm. One thing I do want to note, though, a number of players told me Marcus's message in the locker room today and before the team took the field for the final time for kickoff was play with violence. Whatever you do, play with violence. Yes, they had 10 penalties, but they played with violence all day long, and they never had a dumb penalty. They didn't have a personal foul penalty.
Right.
They didn't have a roughing the passer penalty. And so they played with violence, but they played with mature violence.
2 sacks for Junior Tuihalamaka, and R.J. Oben has struggled this year, but boy, did he come up with a big sack. He was shot out of a cannon coming around the edge against Monroe Freeling, who we thought was a guy that Notre Dame could take advantage of. Big forced turnover there, and immediately Mike Denbrock dialed up the pass into the end zone to Bo Collins, who maybe double clutched it a little bit, but he actually I didn't see it real well.
He was contested on it. He made the catch. I think another key, Junior Tuihalamaka recovered that fumble too.
No, Jaden Osbury.
The fumble forced by R.J. Oben to score the touchdown. Yeah,
exactly.
Adon Schuler's hit to cause that fumble.
Yeah.
That was a tone setter because Georgia was going in for the first score, possibly the first touchdown. That was 3rd down.
Yeah.
Absolutely smashed his man for that fumble. Jaden Osbury, Johnny on the spot. He's one of those guys that's always going to be recovering from. We're going to be saying for 2 more years, Jaden Osbury with the fumble recovery. That's number 4 on the season. He's that type of instinctive player. But I do want to give a shout out because this might not happen. 4th down, Rod Hurd 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Was a fantastic coverage play because remember, that was 4 extra downs after the Jack Kaiser pass interference penalty. That's the depth of Notre Dame's defense. The Rod Hurd was the man to make the play on that.
No doubt. Notre Dame gets a little banged up. We mentioned Jeremiah Love. He was walking out of here with a brace on his knee. It was very interesting to watch Howard Cross III come off the field after he pounded the ground in frustration, having suffered another ankle injury. And I kept my eyes on him. And Al Washington had a long, fairly stern conversation with him. And I can only imagine that he was saying, we need you. You got to be back out there. And he did go back out there.
Yeah, just a gritty competitor. I asked Rocco Spindler along those lines after the game, how much did you hurt out there today? And he said, I just try not to think about it. There's a lot of guys on this team that are hurting, and you just got to put that to the side.
Tim, anything else?
Hey, the offensive line fought to keep possession in that last quarter. It wasn't perfect. Georgia's defensive line did a great job up front, but the offensive line gave Riley Leonard a couple of little creases. It gave Jadarian Price a little bit of room. Look, we had a feeling Georgia defensive line was going to be a problem today, and they were. And we say it was a hard-hitting game. Notre Dame was more physical. It was a hard-hitting game. Georgia was plenty physical in this football game. Notre Dame earned every aspect of this, and I can't talk enough about the special teams doing it again because we keep saying, what are they going to bring to the table here? That fake was inspired. I mean, what are you going to do when you're Georgia? You see all that kind of stuff happening in front of you. Then you're trying to substitute in. Riley Leonard's going to go for it. Here's what could have happened there. I want to ask Marty Biaggi about this very quickly. If Notre Dame jumps off sides, it doesn't matter. They just punt. They were in a no-lose situation there. They got Georgia to jump off sides. It was a fantastic job by Biaggi.
Last thing, I was just going to say the last thing that I would add is we've made it very clear that Notre Dame was the more physical team. Notre Dame was absolutely the better coached team today, the better prepared team today. And this was, as you guys like to know, I like to call it a headset win. And it was a headset win for Freeman. It was a headset win for Al Golden. And it was a headset win for Mike Denbrock. I believe that.
This is going to be a quick turnaround for Notre Dame.
I don't even know what day it is.
It doesn't really matter at this point, but here's what's going to happen. The Penn State is going to have 9 days between games, and Notre Dame is going to have 7. I was talking to Mike Denbrock on the field as they were celebrating. I said, is there any chance that they'd change that? And he said he had heard a conversation about it, but they didn't want to get it ahead of themselves because they had the Georgia Bulldogs to take care of here, and that's exactly what the Fighting Irish did. 23-10, Notre Dame over Georgia. Moving on to Miami in the Final Four of the College Football Playoff.